Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. Hope you enjoy. Story number 1. The Newcomers, written by Black Hat Gamer Aussie 173. They were new. We didn't know much about them. They came from an unexplored arm of the galaxy. They came in ships that were so primitive, we couldn't help but laugh. Thin aluminium hulls, no energy shields, radio-based detection and communication gear. Their sublight drives were mostly chemical rockets. They relied on so much ancient technology. It was a miracle they left their home system, let alone made it into an entirely different arm of the galaxy. We gave them a gift to welcome them to the galaxy. A few basic quality of life improvements for their ships. They even graciously submitted to an inspection of their FTL drive to see what of the 5 known methods they used. That should have been our warning. That should have been the biggest red flags that these new bipedals. They kept environmental suits on the entire time they visited during first contact. Gold face base kept down, obscuring their features. It was very prudent and wise of them to self-quarantine on their first ever contact. We hoped that they would stay wise and prudent in all things. What we didn't expect happened only 50 standard solar cycles after first contact with the Newcomers. They arrived again in much better ships, 3D printed, they called it. They somehow looked like machines and organic, a combination of so many things. Redundancies heaped upon redundancies, plasma shields, EM shields, and even more exotic defense weapons that we had honestly never encountered before. It was all reverse engineered from the simple technology we gifted them. They had taken the simplest of things, like the subspace communicator, and made the most unexpected technologies from them, including medical technology that we are still studying and learning. We also found out that they armed all of their ships, from merchant freighters to science ships to asteroid crackers. We didn't see their warships until the Qatar decided to liberate some of the Newcomers' territory. Their ships were all over weaponized crew lockers and oversized drives bolted on. They used fleet carriers, screening frigates, missile ships, everything and anything they could weaponize, they did. Even their medical ships were a kind of weapon that they used in the Qatar war packs. The Qatar expected a standard war of attrition. They didn't expect small teams of stealthy chaos bringers behind their lines. They didn't expect infrastructure sabotage, nor the tactics the Newcomers called decapitation strikes, where the pack leader was the only casualty. The thing that lost the Qatar the war the fastest though, the Newcomers weaponized compassion. More wounded were brought aboard their hospital ships, treated with the best medical technology, even given entire replacement limbs if needed. The Qatar wounded soldiers were rehabilitated right alongside the Newcomers wounded. That's when the Qatar found out the Newcomers were hyper-social apex predators like them, and they too pack-bonded easily. Qatar war wounded were returned to their people as soon as they were healed enough to travel. It was unheard of for any war species to engage in such mercy. Qatar scholars asked why their enemy was so kind, while at the same time being avatars of war itself. The answer the Newcomers gave was shocking. They gave the entire galaxy a peek at their pre-stellar history. There wasn't a single solar cycle that wasn't absolutely dripping with the blood of their own kind. They were the Deathworlders. Their home planet was Blue Jewel Class 4 Deathworld, evolution gone bonkers. They came from a world with apex predators that dominated entire biomes. We found out why every ship was armed to warship levels of any other species. They were afraid. The Newcomers were afraid of finding something out there worse than themselves, so they were on a perpetual war footing, even in their most peaceful explorations. They spoke of bugs with acid for blood, of shape-shifting predators, of entire dimensions devoted to macabre and inventive methods of torture. They weren't terrified of finding these mythical monsters in space. They were terrified that we might find them first. So the Newcomers always prepare, always explore, always invent as if all their existence depended on it. They didn't want to lose their new friends. The Qatar have been their closest trade partner ever since the border war at Alpha Centauri. Newcomers have started spreading to every culture, every planet, bypassing borders simply by being wanted. We are being taken over by the friendliest of occupations ever experienced on known galactic history. We want them with us, and they are all too happy to oblige. They are the friendliest, craziest monsters you'll ever meet. The humans from the Sol system. End of chapter. Story number 2. The War's Lost, written by Horatio. I don't care if this gets out of hand, said Nox. You and I both know that the procedure set down for the discovery of a new sentient species. There are tests and scans and experiments that have to be performed before sapience can be determined. As a member of the Gulf, it was his job to make sure proper procedure was followed. This species is different, counted 15. They spent a quick moment polling the communal mind of the Frob. Drones from its species did not have the capability of independent decision-making, and the Overmind returned a solution quickly. The Overmind will not support this action. We have never found a species like these humans. We fear this could lead to our annihilation. Nox considered this as he looked around the facility. The human specimen was patiently waiting the next step. They had explained the reason that she was there, and she happily complied with every examination and test so far. Nox did not see the danger that 15 was concerned about. Sure, this Zoo was significantly stronger than average sapient due to her ultra-dense musculature, but she seemed almost a pacifist. Every time she broke some testing equipment, she was very apologetic, and seemed to fear that she had ruined humanity's chance of being classed as sapient. Look at her, he said to 15. She obviously intends no harm, and according to her, humans have not been the aggressor against any sapient species. She herself said that the only battles they had ever since leaving their hellish planet were to defend themselves. Yes, but what if they take this next experiment as a threat? Asked 15. We will not take part in the action that leads us to the same fate as the Relthics that tried to eat their moon. He was referring to a mindless spaceborne entity who traveled the stars searching for planetary bodies made of certain minerals that it processed as food. Anyone can stop the Relthics, scoffed Nox. If you insist on these tests, you will do them alone. With that, 15 clicked away quickly on its chitinous extremities as fast as only a hexapodal insectoid can. What happened? Exclaimed Zoo. Did I do something wrong? No, answered Nox, excreting calming sense. It just had to tend to some equipment. He waited until the door to the facility closed, then brought up the nerve and brain study program back up to his tablet. The next test is going to study conduction of pain along your nerves and how your brain deals with the signals. Nox approached Zoo calmly, still exuding every scent their test showed was having a calming effect on the human. Wait, what? Zoo scrabbled backwards off the soft top platform she had been lying on. No one said anything about pain. It is nothing to be concerned about. It is a simple little sting. From the information you gave us, it would be no worse than a bite of an insect. We thought maybe removing one of these, hairs. You stated you remove them yourself regularly anyway, and that you became accustomed to the sensation. Zoo visibly relaxed. Okay. Just so long as you're not planning on torturing me or something, she said, returning to the platform. We have laws against that sort of thing. I should hope so, exclaimed Nox. Torture is forbidden across all the Federation space. I would recommend the hair on my... began Zoo. Before she could even finish, Nox reached out with an instrument and grabbed the hair near her groin and yanked it out. Hey! I wasn't ready, she shouted, rubbing the area the hair was pulled from. Apologies. The test needed something further from the brain, and those hairs were the only ones I could see that were not on your head. Nox tapped a few times on the tablet and continued. There was sufficient baseline, and I shall not have to pull any more. Still, you could have warned a girl, damn, Zoo grumbled. Makes it worse when it's not expected. Well, Nex replied, as I said, the test is concluded. Next we have to test how your species reacts to something a bit more extreme. I'm not sure I like the sound of that, said Zoo nervously. What kind of extreme are we talking about here? Based on the information you have provided, began Nox. In the middle of his sentence, he quickly reached out again and tried to grasp a fingernail. Hey! Zoo jerked her hand away before Nox could continue. What are you planning? Nox sighed. The forced removal of one of your fingernails would do the trick. I thought surprising you would provide similar nerve and brain feedback like when your hair was pulled. Now, I'm not sure if the result will be reliable. You're definitely not going to yank out a fingernail, yelled Zoo. She jolted back off the platform and began putting her pants and shirt back on. Get me back home, now. You do understand this will mean humanity will be classified as sentient and not sapient, correct? I don't care. If you think ripping out fingernails is a normal test, your federated species can go to hell. Zoo grabbed a piece of equipment that another 5 sapients could not lift. Send me back home, or I'll start breaking things. Oh, very well, Nux replied. With a couple of taps on his tablet, Zoo was transported back to her home on Earth. Subject refused completion of examination, Nux said. Very well, came the voice of his captain from shipboard communications. We will classify them as sentient. Harvesting will commence shortly. Over the next 2 years, the Gulf learned that they should have followed the recommendation from the Frob Overmind. They quickly lost every ship that had been in the Sol system. They were then shocked to find that the humans had somehow not only reverse-engineered all of their technology, they had improved it to the point where no one in the galaxy could stand against them. As the humans drove the lost Gull ships back to their home system, more and more humans heard about the testing Zoo had almost been subjected to. All of them were horrified at the prospect and wanted to join the fight against anyone willing to subject a person to that. At the forefront of the fleet, newly promoted Captain Zoo sat in a command chair. Her voice had been getting more and more raged as the war went on. She never told anyone, but she woke screaming from nightmares every night. Even before the Gulf had abducted her for testing, she had had fear of finger and toenail ripping off. The doctors said that her voice likely would never return to normal, and when she spoke, her voice was gravelly and hoarse. How far out are we? She asked in her navigation. She insisted on some familiarity amongst the bridge staff, so his reply was brief. Still 10 hours plus, said Chief O'Reilly. Well, wait. Everyone knows that you're the person the Gulf abducted, and everyone knows that they wanted to do testing on you. Were they trying to probe you or something like that old science fiction novels? Zoo looked at him and cleared her throat. No, she said, still getting used to how her voice sounded. I refused to let them rip my fingernail off to test my limit for pain. He looked at her and grinned. Their war was lost for the want of a Hosu nail. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and patrons. Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Lord Azrakal, Dragzoon WRE, Holly Sister, Ambrose Cattell, and Quantum Wednesday. Thank you very much.